Hello, America, how are you? In a time when suspicion, misinformation, and division threaten to unravel our shared story, we believe it's time to listen again. Here on the Voices of Americans, we gather real people for real conversations, sharing truths, not headlines. Stories have always been the heartbeat of change, and like the words etched into our currency, e pluribus unum, out of many one, we believe that by listening to each other, we can remember who we are and imagine who we might become. This is Voices of Americans. I always like to start these off by saying, hello, America, how are you? And that's a more important question to ask today as it's ever been. I am pleased to have the two of you here as guests for this. I am so happy to meet you, and I got to see your show, and I want you to take a minute and introduce yourselves, please, and then just talk about the show and give a brief. And then I'm going to put how you can buy tickets, because I want to get this up so people can come and see it while it's still running.
Yes.
And then I really want anybody who sees this to go and make an effort to see this production. It's hilarious, it's beautiful, and it's thought-provoking. And the harmonies are out of this world. I mean, the harmonies give me chills to just remember them. They were the musicians were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and you all wrote the music.
Yes, and we have a composer
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Ademir Zećo.
Zećo. Ademir Zećo.
I'm so sorry, Ademir. Love you.
That's why I didn't want to say that.
I know. So I'll start. I'm Brooke Stanton. My kind of day job is I am a best-selling and award-winning novelist of historical romances and contemporary romantic comedies with strong female characters. Also, I am an actress and a classically trained singer. And I have 2 kids and a queer daughter, which has informed a lot of this show. I don't know if it's informed the show, but afterwards it became important, like, to have her represented and understand why.
Yeah.
You know, a show like this is so important. Yeah.
I'm Amanda Jaques, and I think I'm just going to talk to you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're filming, 'cause I'm not like, yes, so Amanda Jaques, I do live here in Metro Atlanta area and grew up here. Brooke and I went to high school together. I'm sure we'll get more into that. I wear a couple different hats. My background really is in dance and choreography. And then with this, I made a pivot, thanks to Brooke's partnership, to writing. And then I also love improvisation and have been improvising songs my whole life. But then one of my other dear friends, Ademir, who's a composer, we started creating the music together. And Ademir definitely gets all the credit for the harmonies and the orchestral arrangement. I did help develop a lot of the melodies, and Brooke and I did lyrics. Sorry, I'm getting too much into that. More about my background. Also, I've had a hybrid career, not just as an artist, but as a urban planner in local government, worked in private foundations, so all the neighborhood redevelopment themes, the gentrification, the work on equity, right, making conditions better for people living in poverty. That's what's paid my bills, and is also a passion.
Right, good.
Yeah.
Okay, now how long have y'all known each other? You said since high school?
Yes, we met when we were 14 years old on the school bus. I think the first day of school, going to a magnet performing arts high school.
Oh, really? Which one?
Pebblebrook,
Okay,
in Mapleton,
cool.
Georgia. And I was a singer, I am a singer, and she was a dancer. And yeah, we immediately were friends, and basically that's it. We were friends ever since, and through all the different ups and downs and, you know, versions of our life.
Yeah, I'll add a fun story. So once we could drive, the high school was 45 minutes away from where we lived, and we have a third best friend, Allison, who lives in Asheville. She's actually a therapist, and we kicked off our writing in her offices. But our junior year, we drove every single day together. We carpooled to and from school. We listened to Tori Amos nonstop.
Oh, wow.
We were watching My So-Called Life.
That's where that line came
watching
from.
the Pulp, listening to the Pulp Fiction soundtrack on repeat. So, we graduated in 97. So for us, for our friend group, the 90s, like all of these like kind of peak high emotional intensity cultural moments, we all had together.
Yeah, that's good. And you reflect that in the play, which is so funny the way you do it too. Allison, shout out to Allison.
Hi, Allison.
We'll verify this. When you're a therapist, you're trained as a therapist, you have to pay attention to the transference and the countertransference, and part of the countertransference is you get scenes pop into your mind. And when y'all were just talking, have you seen that viral video of these two little girls who meet for the first time at a party, and one of them is like starts doing all these kind of like crazy movement, and the other one is just looking at her, and then she stops, and then the other one just mashes it. And it's like, when you find your vibe.
Yes, when you find your
that's
crazy.
what came to mind.
She reflects my crazy, and so does Allison, as well as our hearts.
Yeah, that's good. So how did you get this idea? It obviously came out of a lot of hilarious conversations and connections you've had over the years. But
yeah, it came out of lived experiences.
Yeah, but how did you start it? Like, what was the,
Well, I'll start with this, which is, I don't even remember the first conversation, but we have girls' trips, so when we need to decompress from our everyday life and our children, we get away. And
I forgot I have kids. Or 2 boys, 6 and 4. And a husband.
Yes, I also have a husband and 2 kids. 9 and 12. Anyway, so I'd had a creative outlet with writing, but I hadn't done a lot of performing lately. And Amanda had had a rich performing life as well, beside her government life, for many years at a dance company, but she hadn't since having kids, I think, right? So we both suddenly had this we were older, we had this, we're in our 40s, we had this real desire to be on stage again, to perform, and we thought, we are women of a certain age, and there are just not good parts for women of a certain age, a lot in this space, and we said, let's just write it. Let's just write the musical we want to be in.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we didn't know what it was going to be about, but, this has been a very, not to get too woo-woo, but kind of divinely led process where once we said yes, then things just opened up to us. One of those things is, as we said, our very best friend, the third part of us, from high school, Allison, she has this beautiful office space, kind of like yours, that's in the mountains of Asheville. And we'd seen her do videos and stuff because she's a very popular company out there where she does a lot of social media content. Anyway, and she's like, come there and start, and we'll have our first weekend. So long story short, we go there. It's a beautiful space. We just sat there for a weekend, and we just brainstormed with a whiteboard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll add the questions we were asking ourselves is, what kind of characters would be really compelling, right? What kind of characters do we want to watch on stage? I mean, we performed in musicals together in high school. Brooke performed in musicals since then. My work's in dance theater. So bringing more of a visual, starting from the visual question of what do we want to see? Yeah. And then we asked ourselves, what are the challenges we're struggling with right now? And that's where gender expression came up. It's what are the things that are coming up for this generation that we're not sure we understand, or we want to make sure we're supportive and we get right. So it really started from, what are the questions that we're trying to answer right now for ourselves, and who are funny, extreme people that we want to see struggle on stage with those questions.
Yeah, and that's what you've done. Okay, so the name of the production is
Verity High Canceled, the musical.
It's not actually canceled.
It's not actually.
It's the title.
It is confusing when you're looking for it, because you do think for a minute. It kind of plays with your head, oh wait,
we've had some issues, and that's why we started adding the musical at the end.
Good.
We had AI send a notice to someone who bought tickets saying, okay, well, your show has been canceled that you were going to go to, and I guess your tickets have been refunded.
Oh, no.
And we had a little freak out.
I mean, talk about a meta moment of we're making jokes about, augmented, generative AI in the show, and then it actually happens. Then we get messages because AI has intervened into the ticket system, and Yahoo email and reached out, and it's oh, this has been canceled. Heads up, I'm helping you with your life. And it's this is not helpful.
That's not helpful.
It was not helping. Now, originally, before we had this title, I won't swear on here, but when we were because it was so much of where we're coming from, our just personal story of where we were, especially in that moment 3 years ago when our kids were even younger, was moms, the mom experience and the generational divide of that as well, we should talk a lot about. And I just named it just a working title as Mom, the effing musical.
Yeah.
And forever, I still have old files named that. But one day we were what is this actually about? What is it? And Verity, means truth, which we explain because not everyone catches that. And honestly, until Colleen Hoover's book Verity came out, I think a lot of people did not quite, really think about that word, veritas and all that. But, from the Latin. But yeah, and we're like, well, this is what we're trying to have very truthful conversations in a high school, but, through the lens of humor.
Exactly.
Course.
And, and the age of awkwardness, right? And it's so awkward, it kind of gets you in touch with, but it's intentionally awkward.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and our lovely teenage actors or young adult actors.
Are they really teenagers?
One of them is.
Oh, wow.
17.
They did a good job.
Yeah, and the other one's, I think, 22.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had a moment
And Anthony's the librarian.
Oh, my God. Our Harlan.
The young man who plays Harlan, which I love.
We love it. Yeah, and Callista, who plays Alexa, the 17-year-old, she just graduated and is going to college. So anyway, so they're very, in and around that age, and they play awkward very well. But it's also about the awkwardness of the parents trying to understand all the quick changes, which I get. Like, I have a funny anecdote where me, who is like such a huge supporter and taught my kids all about gender identity, non-binary. We had a babysitter that's non-binary and was like a few years ago when this conversation happened, where I forget what, they were asking them a question about, do you know who this song's about? And I'm like, well, I think they're singing to, I don't know, he or she singing to da-da-da, and from the back, my daughter goes, or non-binary. And I was like, right, he, she, or non-binary. They, them. And I'm like, just simple everyday things that, the kids are picking up on more, and my kids especially, and calling you out, and you're like, I know, I taught you it.
Right. It is a different shift in culture that we can't even fathom. I remember seeing the first picture of an infant, I'm dating myself now, on a Life magazine, and in the cover, and the baby was pointing at a picture, as if it would open it instead of like a print.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So now we've got this whole new shift where it's like, not only are they digital born, there are, I don't know what you would call this. It's
digital natives.
Okay, digital natives, but the new cultural resist the cancel culture moment. It's beyond what woke means. You know what I mean? It's beyond wokeness. It's something else. I don't know that there's a word for it. Do you?
I don't think, certainly post this election, I think many people who care about building community or DEI inclusion have realized that we've gone too far in cancel culture and calling out, and are trying to rebuild that muscle of how do you have tough conversations in a loving, supportive, open way. I don't know that there's a name for it yet. I'm hearing what I'm hearing a lot of, like creating belonging, a shift to what is inclusion with belonging.
Which goes back to what the musical is called Verity had canceled, because a lot of what we're talking about is cancel culture and how everyone's gotten so scared to have real, honest, open conversations because they're so terrified about being canceled, even amongst just in the micro, with your children and the few people, your community, but obviously on the macro as well, like online and in business and whatnot.
Right.
And so that's like, and like you're saying, the awkwardness and the funniness of what can happen when you're like trying, but you're not quite sure what. We have a lot of characters that are like, what is it called again? Is it politically correct? No, it's anti-racist. No, inclusion,
low income, disinvested.
So we play a lot with like, what is the right word? Because it has been so important, because you might get canceled or at least be called out as something you don't think you are, or maybe you didn't realize, oh, that wasn't the best way to say it, but thank you for informing me and giving me. I think a lot of we're trying to give grace, there just hasn't been grace given to people to make those mistakes.
I think that is what's happening a lot in family systems. I'm a family systems therapist, where there's this division, not just because of a generational reinterpretation or understandings, but it's like, these are the values that are important to me that you don't understand because we don't share the same language anymore. And so the tension in that gap where, some people just bury their heads in the sand and go, this is the way it's always going to be, and I don't have to deal with this, and you're not going to correct me, you should respect your elders and all that stuff. And it doesn't feel good to be corrected. I've been corrected multiple times. I'm sure you have too. But still, it's like, what do you do with that learning? It can be a fodder for so much, and I
think do you want to speak?
Okay. Well, just to tease out back into the writing and the evolving process of, at first the Alexa character was an English teacher.
Oh.
That was
You mean
going up.
Angela?
No, I mean,
The teenager.
no.
The teenager was a...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not remembering this. Okay, continue.
Yeah, okay. Whoever it was, there was an English teacher to begin with that was the person who was correcting, and it was more of that corrective mindset. And as we talked about, how do we illustrate more that every character is coming from a place of good intentions, right? Assuming good intent, that you want to protect your kid, that you are confused, all of this, then it evolved into Alexa, who is scared of being canceled, wants to be correct, is in a learning moment, right? And in the most current moment, that she's the one who's telling everyone these are the right words, right? And this is how you do it, which is much easier to take from a 17-year-old than it is from an adult, in that, like, do it right, you're wrong, you're right, because you give her a little more forgiveness, I think, naturally. But another thing that evolved from, like, Mom, right, the effing musical, where it was more just like, we're tired, to like, our generation of parents, it's not black and white.
Nope.
It's not clear, and it's evolving so rapidly that I think there's we really wanted to portray too in the parent relationship of, when we grew up, we were told it's A or B, and that was it. But we know that's not the case for our kids. So
there's 8.1, 0.2, 0.3.
Yeah. So how do you parent in this rapidly evolving time to make sure your kid's okay, has access to all the best opportunities, right? Knows they're loved and accepted, which we don't. Our answer is community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Our answer is being a part of community, and that everybody at any age gives themselves what they need to support their own freedom of expression.
It is about community, and it's really cool how you, at least for now, wrap it up, because I know that you're emerging. This is a growing project. It's not like a one and done. It's like you're growing this. You asked audience for ideas and feedback.
Yes, because we're performing it right now. This is early June 2025, and we have a couple more shows at the Fringe Festival in Atlanta. And the Fringe has 50-minute shows. Our show is over 2 hours long, and we're still working on music. But so this was perfect. Like, with anything that is in theater, you can only spend so much time putting it on page and tweaking that. It has to get on its feet. It becomes a completely different, beautiful monster when it's on its feet. It breathes totally different life. And it's just the two of us. We had professional reading done. That was very informative, and things changed from that. Hearing it out loud, talking to other actors that are identifying ways that we don't identify, as in, like, fluid or non-binary, for example. And then, anyway, so this was a beautiful opportunity to get it on its feet, to put it in front of 6 different audiences, to see, hear, and have actual feedback from these audiences, so we understand what is working, what's not, what we need to, like, go deeper into, maybe pull back from, and all those things.
So you pull in other ways that people identify with. I think there's the curmudgeon-y woman who, like, engages as sort of the narrator.
Oh no, the curmudgeon-y woman. Sorry, that's Verna. Yes.
I love her. She was awesome. She really set the tone. She
Taylor Rogowski.
She put that pitch up there, for the energy. It was good, and she engaged with. She pulled the audience in. I guess she did. Was that spontaneous, or was that?
I mean, some of it was mostly scripted, but some of it was her playing with it at the beginning. And then now it's pretty much nailed down. But she does. I mean, she looks at and reacts with, and sometimes adds a couple little things. But she's just so good. She makes you feel like that is all in the moment.
But she's obviously an older person than the rest of them, and she's actually the funder in the end. The space, right? She's space.
We're not going to give it away.
I'm not saying. But you gotta go see this. It's like great. But anyway.
And that was in the full.
And she's Jewish, I believe, right? Is she Jewish?
No, Taylor is not Jewish.
Okay, I thought there was a Jewish character in there, and there's a Hispanic character in there.
There is. So in real life, the actress who plays Alexa is Jewish, and Louise He is a Hispanic character in the show. He is also originally from Chile in real life.
Yeah.
Too. But in the longer version, we actually did not have a narrator function. For that Verna character, but to make it make sense in 50 minutes, we set up that construct, and now really we have a lot of people arguing to keep it.
Yes. So
I'm adding my vote for that. Yeah.
No, but these are the questions we need to answer because on a smaller venue that works so well. But what happens when you? There are ways
when you
to
go
do
to Broadway.
it when you. When we go to Broadway.
Yes.
We're going to manifest that.
Yes. But that's a wonderful challenge to have. Like that's the thing is like we are loving these things that we're now discussing of like yes, do we keep the Verna character? In that way, we always will have her. She has always been integral to it, but just in a different way. And yes, it was a beautiful part of Fringe. Like it was to see that those magical moments of like how do we make this 2+ hour show make sense? Oh, we have someone to guide you through it.
Yeah,
that's her.
I'm curious for you, like what questions emerged for you watching it? Like what are you still kind of marinating over?
Yeah, well, first of all, the whole thing about creatives. I think I mentioned that before we started taping. The creatives are getting like really canceled right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so threatening, and it doesn't need to be because there's so much playfulness. You know, we have to bring playfulness back in, and creatives are leaders in that way. You know, so that really kind of stuck with me. I was like, oh wow, that was motivational. I mean, it makes me like have an emotional response, you know, because it's sad what we're going through right now. When y'all started writing this, we weren't in the moment that we're in right now. So it's almost like, you know, this would be shut down immediately, you know, and it would be so tragic. And the thing is that so much has been shut down, and it is tragic. I mean, when you have to ride through my neighborhood in Decatur and see signs that says "Save the CDC." I mean, we're not just talking about scientists can be creatives.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, I mean, we've got a creative part in any one of our professions. You know, and we've got to have the freedom. With creatives, help us remember that freedom is important.
And I'm going to jump on that with the CDC and stuff. Part of being free to create is free to fail.
Yes.
And this goes along with cancel culture, with all this. We're not being allowed to fail or make mistakes or try again.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's with scientists, again, like I said, too, but definitely with creatives. I mean, with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, which is why, hopefully, as you were saying, the pendulum is in some ways swinging, but certainly not with the artists. Like, I mean, they're afraid to have anyone think.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily work out of the medical model for diagnoses, but, you know, I have to live within it in that culture. And I can tell that Allison, at least, or maybe both of y'all had psychology majors.
I did not.
But I mean, you did
have
bring
thousands of hours in public hearings. So I would say that would qualify.
So the personality disorder stuff comes up, you know, in this play too. So that's resonating with me too. Like, oh, how did they know? Because you've got at least 2 dominant characters who you talk about as narcissists, right? And you remember?
I do. You know, we honestly put that in because as a comment on therapy culture, therapy talk culture, that it's just become more normalized. Like we would not have used those words and when we were in high school, but now everybody throws those words around. So I know we are not qualified to diagnose anybody.
Yeah.
We just threw in words that we know people are saying.
Yeah.
Well, that fit with the character, like when we said, you know, we said what was the word? Not we didn't say narcissist. We said kind of a narcissist or something. No, I can't remember the phrase.
No, it's when Verna, after Sutton and Alexa reunite, she's like, if any of you suckers are tearing up, you've clearly never dated a narcissist.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then the daughter
calls her mom
mother.
also.
Yes.
A kind of a narcissist.
Who's trying to reclaim her glory days on the stage.
So we pile on Sutton twice.
Yes,
as a narcissist.
Yeah.
Which actually we should point out, one thing we haven't said is we wrote 2 of the characters for Amanda and me. So Sutton was for me, and Angela, the Karen, the Karen parent, is for Amanda. But it was too much for us to perform. Yeah. And it's been amazing to watch other actors take it on and just go with it beyond anything I've imagined I mean, who knows what we would have discovered. I'm sure some brilliant stuff too, but it's been amazing to have like trusted and put into other actors' hands.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And the thing is that it does show that you trust them because they have formed a bond, and you don't always see that in a cast. But it's clear because we talked about this before I turned the recorder on. There was a moment where one of the characters fell, and then somebody just immediately the flow was so good, and I really hope that the cast will come back and do after you finish. Yeah, because I'd like for you to brag on the cast a little bit because they do they bonded over this.
One
it's
thing
meaningful.
We did not say is Amanda is the director and choreographer of this production. So Amanda, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah. So first of all, I cannot say enough about this cast. They are incredible, and we are beyond lucky, blessed. I do believe in divine intervention that we got them because most of they have full-time jobs. A lot of them have played huge roles in local Atlanta productions, right? But the reason this worked, I asked them at the first table read, like, why did you reach out to us or audition or say yes if I reached out to you? And they were like, the script speaks to me and this compressed time frame fits with my life, right? And I really want to do something myself. I mean, because all the women in the production have children, right? Young children or children that were graduating in this time. And all together, we had only about 12 hours of all cast rehearsal. We started April 28th, right?
Wow.
And the show opened they had tech on May 28th.
Wow.
So, and we did, phone calls over Zoom, right? Some of them had smaller scene work rehearsals, but I mean, this went up in no time.
And the reason I got involved is because they used my downstairs space here to rehearse one day.
That was our one and only blocking rehearsal.
Is that right?
What we did here. Yeah, blocked the whole show.
It was awesome.
And recorded it. Yeah. And then we had one kind of music and dance rehearsal, and then we just had run-throughs. And I'll say, like, on the third big rehearsal in our run-through, I was like, we made a mistake.
Oh, no. Really?
I was like, this is not going to work.
No, but it did. Were you surprised when you saw the full, not 50 minutes?
I mean, well, I came into that rehearsal that she's talking about, but that's because it was the first time they're meant to be off book, which means memorize their lines. And I just come actually off a show where it was a bit of a hot mess coming into Tech Week, and as we just had to have faith, which is what we've done through all of this, and then know that they're amazing professional actors, like who've done this. So by Tech, at the end of Tech, we were like, oh, okay, they're fine. We're fine. They're amazing. It all came together. But
but we did not see Friday night, our opening night. I jokingly called it the dress rehearsal night, because that was the first time that everyone had been together, right, in this space, everything run through, because one of our actors couldn't make our tech rehearsal at the Fringe venue until the very end because last day of school they had to teach, right? So
3 teachers.
Then by Friday night, I was like, okay, no, this is going to be great. And it's just gotten better and better and better, right? Of course, because time, like the actors have to get it in their body. They're getting familiar with the space. They're getting familiar with the sense of time in the show. And so, yeah, we have Saturday night, this Saturday at 10:30 p.m. And then we have Sunday at 3:30 p.m. And it's just getting better and better.
Okay, so I need to go ahead and get this posted as soon as possible. Yeah. So, I thought you had another week, but you don't. Okay.
No, not for this particular one. We are very hopeful, and there will be other runs, but we just don't know when yet.
Yeah, right. We'll see. Okay, good. Well, so say a word or two as we're kind of wrapping this up. What is at stake here, and why this particular production is important now for people in the United States of America?
For the light question for last?
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Okay. Gosh, so a couple of things. I think one, supporting live performance, period, I think is really critical right now, because we build empathy for each other when we're in physical space together, right? We know that. That's humans. I also think all forms of storytelling, stories, our brains are wired for story.
Yes.
It's how we understand the world, and we actually cannot embody and process new ways of understanding the world without hearing it through a story.
Right.
Right? A fact, an infographic never changed anyone's life or mind.
Right.
It is the story associated with that fact or information. So I think in general, that's why in this story specifically, because it's touching on universal lifetime issues of parent-child relationships and safety, because it's touching on topical issues of how neighborhoods are changing and what housing, education, what spaces are being lost. I mean, in city of Atlanta, they are actually gonna have to close a high school next year.
Yeah.
They're gonna be picking a high school to close.
Wow.
So these are real issues that I hope people can, get some curiosity or understanding about the players involved and how they can show up and participate in their lives, right? Democracy is a participatory team sport.
That's right.
We have to participate for it to exist and work.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just going about why, like, this kind of storytelling, for lack of a better word, and right now why it's so important is everyone's being told what to think and lectured at so much. And one of the biggest things is we did not want to lecture. We are not those actors. This show is, everything came from joy, fun, humor, love.
Yeah.
It's very reflective. It's very, one of the character actors said, it's like a 90s sitcom. We're like, yes, it is. It is touching on extremely important topics, but nobody wants to be lectured to. We're all getting lectured to so much. We want to enjoy. People will sit back and reflect and think if they do not feel like they're being lectured to and told what to do. Yeah. I don't care if it's a topic I am loving and being passionate about. If someone's sitting at me lecturing, I'm getting, my hackles are going up, I'm closing down, I'm shutting down.
You're protecting yourself.
I'm protecting myself. If you go into a safe, open space with other people, like that has been, like you said, exactly, community, like I feel everyone is so laughing together, connecting in this beautiful way. And again, just the message, these are such important topics, but you don't go in there because you're like, I want to learn about this stuff and change. You're going in there to be entertained. Yeah. And if anyone can walk away with having their minds just thinking and considering things a little differently and having a bit more grace, compassion, then I think we've done our job.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. You're very inviting, and you leave feeling like, even though it's kind of a mess, I belong.
Yeah. Like the world is a mess. Not the production.
No, but I mean, it's like the messiness of the human experience.
Exactly.
Yes. And of communities trying to work through.
Yes, that's true. We say that.
It's really good. Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you, Melissa, for inviting us.
Oh my gosh,
here.
I talk about divine intervention. I mean, I really feel that way too.
Yeah.
So
thank you. I know Amanda called me as soon as she met you in the space, and she's like, Brooke, I don't know why, but it's just so many like synchronicities, and it was
I know.
amazing.
I think I said something crazy to you when you walked in the door. I don't remember what it was now, but
I don't either.
Maybe it was, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't scare you away.
No.
No.
Au contraire.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to live here now.
Yes. This is our new home. We're moving in.
These are our people.
Yeah, bring Allison too.
Yes. Allison, you're moving down here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you've watched this all the way through to the end, and I want you to go and purchase your ticket. I'm going to try to post this up tonight so that you have the opportunity to do so.
And if not, there will, there's going to be the different iterations. Go to, can I give the website?
Please.
Okay, verityhighmusical.com. We'll have the most up-to-date information there.
For other productions.
Subscribe.
And subscribe to the mailing list.
Is there a mailing list?
Yeah, there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
if you go on that website, yes. Oh my gosh, is it Verity High Musical? I think is our Insta. Yeah.
Instagram.
Whatever, we'll put it in the show notes or something. But
please, I want all that information and all. Yeah. So that's all good. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the Voices of Americans.